What's up, my friend? Abby here, and welcome back to Writer's Life Wednesdays, where we come together to help you make your story matter and make your author dreams come true. Do you have a story idea, some conflicted, adorable characters, and like a general idea of the beginning and the end, but you have no idea what's gonna happen between the beginning and the end? Sounds like you need to come up with a plot, an exciting external journey for your characters to go on. Yep, I know, I said it. I'm constantly talking about characters and misbeliefs and internal conflict, but today I'm talking about the external conflict, the plot. More specifically, how to craft a plot in such a way that every moment matters. Every scene pulls your reader into the next scene, and the next scene, and the next one. Basically, we're going to explore the science behind an addictive plot. And yes, there is a science to it because there's a science to your reader's brain. And once you understand that story-mind connection, you can use these fundamental principles of psychology to engage your reader and actually literally addict them to your story. Why does your story matter? Good question. What if I told you that there's a science behind every great story? I don't just teach you how to write. I teach you how to change the world with your story and make your author dreams come true. When most writers think about coming up with a plot, they tend to ask themselves, what's going to happen to my characters? But to be honest, that is the worst question to ask yourself when you're developing a plot. The better question to start with is, what is going to happen that forces my character to confront their fears, weaknesses, and ultimately change in order to find enlightenment and happiness? I know that's a big question, but don't worry, we're going to break this down step by step. And a lot of writers struggle with this part of the process, the plotting process, coming up with an actual good story, because it's an incredibly daunting job. And that's why in my new upcoming live training, we are going to dive deep into my process of plot development. How I take my rough, messy ideas and use tried and true storytelling techniques to shape these ideas into a compelling, addictive story. So in this live training, we're going to dive deep into crafting a plot from scratch. And I'm basically gonna hold your hand through this whole process. I'll also be giving you resources like templates and study guides and all kinds of valuable tools that you can use for all your future writing projects. So if you want to dive deeper into this topic of creating an addictive plot, click the link below this video to save your spot at the live training. Space is limited. It's happening this Saturday, July 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't worry if you can't make it to the live stream, because you'll still have access to watch the replay as many times as you want. By the way, this particular live training is such a huge topic that I decided to make it 2 parts. So this weekend is going to be part 1. We're gonna look at outlining, plotting, figuring out the development side of the first half of your story, and then next month, we're going to dive into part 2, so the second half of your story, because it's such a huge topic and I want to dive deep into every single aspect of this process and really show you how I start with nothing and end up with a fully developed plot for a full-length novel. So stick around, you don't want to miss either one of these sessions. See, when most writers go into developing their plot, they ask themselves, okay, what can I do to make this exciting? What's going to happen to my characters that will interest my readers? Stop. You're asking the wrong question. Your plot doesn't have to be filled with high stakes, perilous, life or death scenarios in order to keep your reader on the edge of their seat. Don't set out to keep your reader excited. Instead, set out to keep them curious. Curiosity makes us eager to learn what is going to happen next to these characters, because we care about the characters, not because the events of the plot are thrilling or high stakes. I'm sure you've seen many movies and books that are filled with high stakes, peril, and action scenes, but they fail to capture your interest because you didn't care about the characters. So when you shift the goal from excitement to curiosity, suddenly the whole approach changes. Have you ever described a really good book or TV show as addictive? Well, chances are in the moment you were kind of exaggerating, trying to explain why you just wanted to keep reading or keep watching because you had to know what happened next. But what if I told you that was scientifically what was going on in your brain? Psychology studies reveal that curiosity triggers the pleasure and reward center in your brain, which increases dopamine levels, similar to the response of using an addictive drug. Dopamine leads to more curiosity, which urges you as a reader to keep turning pages. And before you know it, you're finishing that book at 2 in the morning, which is totally illogical. Like, why would you do that? Because you were addicted to it. Science. Your brain asked a question and the writer promised an answer. So you kept reading. And you got your answer, and then you asked a new question. What's going to happen next? Will this character achieve their goal? Will they get the thing they've always wanted? Will they overcome their fear? Will they find happiness at last? These are the questions your reader should be asking themselves as they navigate the plot alongside your characters. When your reader understands why what's happening matters to the characters, they understand why it matters to them. Suddenly, in their subconscious mind, there is no distinction between their reality and the reality of the fictional characters that they are reading about because they care. We empathize with them. That's powerful. So how do we create this mind-story connection? How do we essentially hack your reader's brain to build this addictive flow of question, curiosity, reward, dopamine? And how do we use this powerful psychological tool to hold your reader's interest? That is a huge question, and that's the question that we're going to explore and unpack in this new live training. So save your spot now. I'm really excited because this live training is gonna be so special. It's gonna basically be like a mini masterclass that's gonna walk you through the whole process of plotting your story, start to finish, using brain science as our guide. We're going to be plotting using the 3-act story structure, which is my personal favorite, as you guys know. But it's going to be fresh and exciting because every step of the way, we're going to be testing each story beat against science and seeing if it holds up. In this live training, I'm going to share with you my exact process of crafting a plot, start to finish, how to use psychology and the 3-act story structure to hack your reader's brain, how to visualize your plot working with your character arcs, tips for pacing and organizing your plot points, plus valuable templates and study guides that you can use to strengthen your plot and learn from the best stories out there. That's all in the live training, so save your spot now. Space is limited and I want you to be there. I want you to be a part of this. You're gonna love it. Remember, the live training is happening this Saturday, July 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you can't make it, you will be able to watch the live stream replay as many times as you want after the fact. Also, if you're watching this video in the future and you're like, wait, that already happened, I missed it. Don't worry, you can still click the link below and get access to the live training replay. I hope to see you there. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait to dive into all of this more in depth with you. Until then, my friend, rock on. Shh.